The Chiefs secured a thrilling win over the Broncos with a walk-off blocked field goal, but not without a bit of drama. Fans were up in arms about a penalty in the second quarter, so I have to dive into that "saved by the refs" nonsense. I'll also share my biggest concerns about this team as we break down the wild game. But first, can we talk about how crazy this was? I'm a bit shaky today, so bear with me. That block was insane. Seriously, I thought the Chiefs were about to lose, and so did everyone else on social media. The Broncos had a 92% chance of winning when they lined up for a 35-yard field goal. But then, the unthinkable happened. Leo Chanel, a.k.a. John Cena, came through and saved the day. More on him in a bit, trust me. But let's dive into the game itself because there's a lot to talk about here. Right from the start, the Chiefs were far from their best. They won the coin toss and deferred, giving the Broncos the ball first. Denver quickly went 3 and out, but the Chiefs didn't do much better on their first drive. Mahomes scrambled for a first down on 3rd and 10, and Kelsey made a nice catch on 3rd and 4, but the run game struggled against a tough Broncos defense. Mahomes took a sack on 3rd down, trying to find Worthy, but the play didn't develop the way he expected. The Chiefs ended up punting. Then Spags, Chiefs defensive coordinator, caught Broncos quarterback B. Nix off guard with a blitz, pushing them back 17 yards. But the Chiefs couldn't capitalize on that and quickly went 3 and out again. Denver started to heat up, with Mims breaking off a 14-yard run and moving the ball downfield with short passes. After almost sacking Nix, a broken coverage allowed Trotman to run for a huge 34-yard gain. A few plays later, Nick Bolton missed a coverage assignment, and the Broncos scored an easy touchdown to make it 7-0. The next drive was even more concerning for the Chiefs when W. Morris had to leave the game with a knee injury, which opened the door for rookie Kingsley Sumata. Kingsley had lost his starting spot to W. Morris earlier in the season, and fans were hoping he'd improved during his time on the bench. Unfortunately, he struggled. Let's just be real. He got worked over in this game. We'll dive deeper into that later. Despite that, the Chiefs kept fighting. Mahomes connected with Kelsey, Hopkins, and Watson to move the ball downfield. Then Mahomes somehow avoided a sack, but on the next play, the pressure was too much, and the Chiefs had to settle for a 36-yard field goal, bringing the score to 3-7 with just under 9 minutes left in the second quarter. The Broncos kept pushing, with Jordan Humphrey catching a 20-yard pass and B. Nix hitting Cortland Sutton for a perfect 32-yard strike on 3rd and 1. Sutton gave McDuffie a tough time all game. And honestly, this was one of McDuffie's worst performances so far, giving up 5 catches for 67 yards and a touchdown. But I'm not too worried. Everyone has an off day, and McDuffie will bounce back. After that touchdown, though, the Chiefs' defense tightened up and didn't let the Broncos score again for the rest of the game. The Chiefs' offense, which had been averaging 28 points per game since October, didn't deliver the same explosion, but the defense did its job. Now let's talk about that penalty in the second quarter that Broncos fans are blaming for the loss. Yes, they're seriously complaining about it. But before I get into that and the crazy ending, I'll also share my biggest concerns for the Chiefs moving forward. Can you believe it? The NFL season is already halfway through. If you haven't made plans to visit Arrowhead Stadium yet, now is the time, especially since the Chiefs have been on a winning streak. My wife and I had planned to go to the Broncos game, but unfortunately, she got sick. Now I'm determined to catch another game before the season wraps up, and I can't wait. That's where my special connection with today's sponsor, SeatGeek, comes in. You can use my code HBTC10 to get 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek, whether you're a new customer or not. This includes Chiefs games, other NFL games, concerts, festivals, you name it. SeatGeek makes ticket buying super easy. They rate tickets on a scale from 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. And don't worry if you've used SeatGeek before, you can still use my code HBTC10 for that 10% discount on your next order. So, what are you waiting for? Grab your phone, open the SeatGeek app, and add code HBTC10 to your account right away. This offer won't last long. Now back to the game. With the Chiefs trailing 14-3, they desperately needed points on their next drive. Kelce made a fantastic catch, getting wide open for 22 yards right off the bat. Then Gray and Hopkins helped bring the Chiefs close to the 30-yard line. But then, the team faced back-to-back sacks, putting them in a tough spot with a long fourth down and out-of-field goal range. I have to give credit to Denver's defense. They're one of the best, ranking in the top 3 for pressures, and tied for second in sacks before this game. It was a tough matchup for the Chiefs' offensive line, especially for Kingsley, who had to face off against Trey Hendrickson, one of the league's top pass rushers. It's no wonder he struggled. After the second sack, safety Brandon Jones was flagged for illegal contact. Instead of facing a long fourth down, the Chiefs got a fresh set of downs. This led to a great catch by Kareem Hunt, bringing them down to the 11-yard line. A quick shovel pass to Kareem and another run by him got them to the 2-yard line. On 4th and goal, the Chiefs decided to go for it, and Mahomes connected with a wide-open Travis Kelce near the end of the second quarter, bringing the score to 10-4, with the Chiefs still trailing by 4. By the way, that touchdown was a big moment for Kelce. It was his 76th career score, tying him with Tony Gonzalez for the most touchdown receptions in franchise history. One more touchdown, and he'll be at the top of that list, which is pretty amazing. Now let's talk about that illegal contact penalty that gave the Chiefs a new set of downs. There was definitely some contact, but it's hard to see the whole picture from just one angle. Has less contact been flagged before? Yes. Has more contact not been flagged? Absolutely. This is just how it goes sometimes. Interestingly, this penalty became a hot topic on social media after the Chiefs won. Some fans claimed that this call was why the Broncos lost, ignoring the fact that they didn't score a single point for 2.5 quarters. The mental gymnastics some fans go through can be quite entertaining. First, people say you can't call penalties late in the game, like the holding penalty in Super Bowl 57. Then they complain when no calls are made. If a foul happens, it should be flagged, right? It seems like the rules change depending on the situation. Here's a wild thought. Maybe winners just find a way to win, no matter the odds. Take recent examples from this season. Against the Buccaneers, McDuffie got flagged for a questionable holding call that turned a potential punt into a first down, leading to a touchdown. The Chiefs could have had an easier win, but they still came out on top. Then, against the Falcons, the Chiefs faced 2 questionable calls that gave Atlanta a fresh set of downs. But guess what? The Chiefs' defense stood strong and stopped them, sealing the victory. Winners find a way to win no matter what. The Chiefs have been the most successful team since 2018, yet they were one of the least penalized teams in the NFL leading up to this game. It seems no matter how the Chiefs win, there are always complaints online. Some fans just can't handle losing and end up whining about the referees. It's almost like they never learned how to accept defeat and improve. But hey, let's move on before we need safe spaces for those who are just hate watching this video. Now back to the game. After the Chiefs scored, the Broncos had less than 2 minutes left in the half and were trying to get into field goal range with some quick passes. But then, Courtland Sutton dropped a pass that could have put them around the 20-yard line. Instead, Lutz had to attempt a long 60-yard field goal, which fell well short. Mecole Hardman caught it in the end zone, but ran out of steam trying to return it. If he had managed to take it back, I might have lost my mind. This gave the Chiefs the ball to start the third quarter, trailing by 10 and in need of points. Unfortunately, they went 3 and out quickly. Hunt couldn't find any room to run, and a screen pass was thrown too low. Then Mahomes got sacked on 3rd down. This one felt more like a coverage sack. It seemed like nobody was open, and Mahomes was holding onto the ball too long. Denver has one of the best coverage units in the league after all. The ensuing punt led to a 28-yard return by Mims, but thankfully, the Broncos also went 3 and out, thanks in part to a holding penalty and the Chiefs' strong defense. The next drive turned out to be the longest of the day for either team, but it started off rocky. Kingsley Suamataia struggled again, and Mahomes took a hard hit from behind. It turned out that while Kingsley lost that battle, Mahomes had wanted Carson Steele to help him out, but Steele went the wrong way. With both tight end help and Mahomes needing support, it just wasn't a good situation when you have to dedicate 3 players to block 1 defender. That sack made it 2nd and 20. However, on 3rd and 13, Mahomes managed to shake off Benito after Kingsley lost his block again. He scrambled and found Pine for a huge 35-yard gain against his former team. The next 3rd down went to Kelsey, and a couple of passes to Hunt set up another Mahomes scramble for 7 more yards. They needed 8, so they decided to go for it on 4th and 1. Hunt got just enough to keep the drive alive and set up 1st and goal. Zach Allen almost intercepted Mahomes on a failed screen pass, but thankfully it seemed like the sun got in his eyes. Then on 3rd and 3, the Chiefs tried to target Justin Ross in the corner of the end zone. Unfortunately, the pass was overthrown, making it a tough catch. Butker stepped up and hit another field goal, bringing the score to 13-14. That failed red zone drive made the Chiefs just 1 for 10 in the red zone over their last few games against the Broncos defense. Some of that poor execution deserves credit to the Broncos for their solid defensive strategy. On the Broncos' next drive, they got one of their tight ends involved for a 1st down, and a couple of runs set up a catch on 3rd down. However, an end around to Mims went nowhere, leading to a long 3rd and 11. Nick Bolton burst through the line and made a fantastic sack for a 16-yard loss. The defense really held strong once again. Worthy finally got involved with a quick 11-yard catch, and then Hunt caught a checkdown pass for 26 yards, becoming the team's leading receiver. However, 2 plays later, Xavier Worthy, who had been leading in receiving yards, tried to make a deep catch, but landed awkwardly on his elbow. Mahomes later said that throw was on him. He was a bit off balance while scrambling, but he knows he needs to make that play. After that, Watson couldn't find any room to run, and a pass was batted down on 3rd down, with Mahomes facing pressure again. Worthy did return to the game, and thankfully, his injury didn't seem serious, but it's always tough to see another receiver go down. On the other side, the Chiefs' defense pressured Nick, with FAU tackling him for a loss. Then, on 3rd down, Spagnuolo sent everyone after Nick, leading to a quick 3 and out. This gave the Chiefs the ball back, trailing by just 1 point with under 11 minutes left in the 4th quarter. And thank goodness W. Morris managed to return. After that drive, Andy Reid shared in his press conference that W. Morris doesn't seem to have any long-term issues with the knee he hurt. That's great news. However, I'm still worried about the depth at left tackle, and I'll explain why in a bit. Even with W back, not all the pressure came from the left side. Carson Steele missed his blocking assignment again on 1st down, and Mahomes took a hit while diving backward for an incomplete pass. Steele then had a carry that went for a loss of 3 yards, leading to a tough 3rd and 13. With pressure coming at him again, Mahomes found a wide-open DeAndre Hopkins for 31 yards, bringing the team just inside the 20-yard line. On the next 3rd down, nobody was covering Kelsey in the slot, so both Mahomes and Kelsey quickly recognized it. Kelsey turned around to catch the pass and move the chains. However, the Broncos' defense held strong inside the 10-yard line. Hunt brought the team down to the 2, but sadly, Mahomes sailed a pass over a wide-open Kelsey on 3rd and goal. Mahomes later said he thought the linebacker would drop back more, but he didn't. In hindsight, he should have thrown a laser to Kelsey for the score. That's 2 missed touchdown opportunities, 1 to Worthy and one to Kelsey. With just 6 minutes left in the game, the Chiefs were trailing by 1 point. Andy Reid decided there was no thought of going for it on 4th down from the 2-yard line. He wanted to leave that drive with points no matter what. So Butker kicked a 20-yard field goal, putting the Chiefs up 16-14. This gave the Broncos the ball with 6 minutes left, plus 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, needing only a field goal to win. To make matters worse, Harrison Butker missed the kickoff, and the ball landed short, giving Denver the ball at the 40-yard line instead of the 30. The Broncos then got a first down on 3rd and won when Sutton caught a quick low pass for 2 yards. Sutton and Asa helped move the chains again as time ticked down to the 2-minute warning. The Chiefs held the Broncos to a 3rd and 6, using a timeout to stop the clock, but Nick found Sutton again with McDuffie in coverage. Nick stepped up in the pocket and made a perfect pass to Sutton, allowing the Broncos to drain the clock and call a timeout with just 1 second left in the game to set up an easy 35-yard field goal. It seemed like game over, or so we all thought. The Chiefs' special teams had found a weakness in Denver's field goal unit earlier in the game, and they exploited it here. Leo Chanel charged through the line and made a diving block. The kick went up, and it was blocked. Oh my gosh, let's go. This incredible play ended the game, and everyone went wild because a walk-off blocked field goal is a rare and thrilling moment. The Chiefs escaped with a 9-0 record, while the Broncos fell to 5-5. The Chargers also won their game, making them second in the West, while the Chiefs remained on top. In this game, Mahomes completed 28 of 46 passes for 266 yards and 1 touchdown. It could have and should have been 3 touchdowns, but he was also sacked 4 times. The biggest concern with those sacks isn't just that the Broncos' defensive line is fantastic, but that Kingsley Suamataia allowed 7 pressures, 3 QB hits, 3 hurries, and a sack while playing just over half of the offensive snaps. To put that in perspective, Trey Smith gave up 3 pressures, but had 15 more pass-blocking snaps than Kingsley. That's why I think the biggest concern is the left tackle position. Kingsley, with all due respect, just isn't ready. With Donovan Smith saying he's still available, I think the Chiefs need to make a call and bring him in ASAP. Mahomes can only take so much pressure. He was pressured 21 times in this game. Plus, he was dealing with a banged-up ankle, which affected his throwing mechanics and led to some missed throws. Some of those misses were on him, but it was a combination of everything, including facing a secondary that excels in man coverage. The Chiefs need some players who can beat that coverage. I'm also looking forward to Isaiah Pacheco returning because Kareem Hunt tweaked his knee during the game. He managed to finish, but he wasn't as effective, and he was pulled at times for Carson Steele, who struggled in pass protection. If both Hunt and Pacheco return, that would be great. Both can run, catch the ball out of the backfield. Despite the challenges, the Chiefs adapted their game plan due to the struggles on the ground. They started tossing the ball to Hunt more on checkdowns, and he delivered. Hunt finished with 7 catches for 65 yards, averaging 9.3 yards per reception. Kelsey and DeAndre Hopkins followed behind in the receiving stats, with Kelsey catching 8 passes for 64 yards and a touchdown, while DeHop had 4 catches for 56 yards. The offense was inconsistent at times, managing only 1 touchdown and settling for 3 field goals. They went just 1 for 4 in the red zone, which isn't great, but we have to remember that Denver's defense is one of the best in the league. The Chiefs also struggled on 3rd downs, converting just 7 of 16 attempts, which is a drop from their over 60% conversion rate in the last 4 games. However, despite all the pressures, Mahomes not being at 100% and the run game being stifled, the offense was just a couple of plays away from making this game a blowout. They could have easily won by 10 points or more. On the defensive side, the Chiefs stepped up significantly. Outside of the first two touchdowns, they held Denver to just 14 points throughout the game. Najee Johnson had a standout performance, leading the team in tackles and recording a sack, while other players made key plays when it mattered most. One concern was the lack of pressure on Nick. He didn't have to scramble much, and while Chris Jones was eating up double teams, I would have liked to see Nick in more trouble than he was. As for special teams, they were okay. Not great, but not terrible either. Mata had a rough day with at least 2 touchbacks on his punts. Butker messed up the kickoff at the end, but he did score 10 points during the game, which is worth noting. The most crucial play came from the special teams with that blocked field goal. Thank you, Leo Chanel. Overall, it wasn't the Chiefs' best game in any phase, while it was one of Denver's better performances. Despite that, the Broncos still walked away with a loss, and their fans are still complaining about a penalty from the second quarter. It's amusing to see them so upset. Now the Chiefs are moving on to face the Buffalo Bills this Sunday. They'll be on the road and need to heal up and get ready because that game is going to be a tough battle. But that's a conversation for another day. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this game. While the ending was absolutely thrilling and resulted in a big win, what were your biggest concerns? What do you think the Chiefs need to address moving forward? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, let's go. How about those Chiefs? How